So Goran, can you tell me a bit about Gresham Smith?
Of course. Gresham Smith is a national architecture firm. We have 8 different markets, but healthcare being our main and largest one of all. Over 25 offices, I think, ranging southeast all the way up to Chicago in the north, and then as far west as Denver.
Today, you have seen the system for the first time in person. So, what was your first impressions?
I was certainly very excited to see it. Seeing it in 3D and on drawings is one, but seeing it in person was a whole other thing. I mean, at first, let's say without knowing anything about it, it's very cool, very new. It certainly it looks like the future is here. It's much smaller than I thought it would be, but then with all that, sort of stepping back and then saying, hey, I know what all these components and what they do, it makes it even more extraordinary that we're here. This is going to be installed. This is going to be treating patients. It's very exciting.
Can you tell us a bit about the project you've been working on with Leo Cancer Care and McLaren?
Of course. It is at the heart of the project. It's essentially taking an existing vault with a fixed gantry and converting it into 2 smaller treatment rooms that will house the Leo technology. The implication of the project are tremendous. It's increased capacity, it's throughput, it's certainly at the end affordability of the heart of the project. It's more affordable, and hence more accessible to patients, hence saving lives is what we're all here in the business of doing. So it's
and I think it's just so important that there's such a barrier to protons because of the cost and the size. And this project that we're working on shows that actually just tweaking a few things like using a fixed beam literally just means you can actually treat even more people and make it more accessible, which is great.
Absolutely. It's truly, when you really think about what it can do for healthcare, it's what we as architects, as healthcare architects, strive to get to, certainly our clients, and as a trusted advisor to your clients, that you want to tell them about new stuff that could not only benefit them and be more affordable to them, but certainly to their patients. So it's very exciting.
So what design considerations were made when you were designing the room for McLaren?
I mean, to begin with, obviously we work with McLaren on many different projects, but in this case, taking the expertise and all the expertise that was involved around the room, certainly the technology, and blending it into one solution that fits in, McLaren Health and the way they provide healthcare, it certainly improves it, was sort of the stepping stone. But to get specifically into the project, there was a lot of stuff, as you could imagine, taking brand new technology and implementing it into an existing room. So, for example, one question was mulled around or discussed in extent was how do we place this in the room to allow for both patient and staff flow, certainly get the 2 machines to fit with splitting the existing beam that's serving the room now. So I think one is, figuring out where it goes in the room. Second, equipment delivery. Can we deliver it into the room without disruptions? I think one key point in design here was, let's try to preserve as much of the existing room and the shielding walls, and as we deliver and certainly lay out the room, which the team definitely achieved. That there is some obviously alterations, but in reality the equipment is small enough, and the teams obviously collaborated us with Leo of how to actually deliver the chairs into the room without much disruption, because another point from McLaren was there are existing vaults that are going to be operating and treating patients while this project is going on. So what can we do to minimize the impact there?
Hospitals don't want downtime because that means patients aren't being treated. So that's
Absolutely.
really important.
And that cost is, I mean,
Yeah,
if it doesn't open on time, right, is one, but if they have to shut down ones that bringing in revenue, that's a whole other driver for this as well.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's great because looking at the plans now and seeing the drawings, that even though we're splitting this one room into two, it's not cramped. There's still space for everything that needs to be done. So that's really impressive.
Absolutely, and I think again that's the attribute that to the team and working together on finding solutions of how to make this work. Obviously, you had to work with their technology or integrating into their beam and where the actual nozzle is, which was one of the things that I think we worked on together. Is hey, the existing center beam line height is X.
Yep.
If we bring in the chair, are we in the right spot? And I think that was, or much consideration was given on how do we treat that? Do we excavate and create lots of noise, or do you at least take a look? And certainly Leo came through. We're saying, hey, we can adjust our technology to fit the project, which was certainly a saver for cost in construction, but certainly also, it just worked, which is great.